Welcome back to the show today. My name is Kaytlynn Ward and I am your host, and today we are in our last episode of the summer reading series, Books That Have Transformed My Life. Today, we are talking about one of my all-time favorite books that I genuinely reread the whole entire thing for this, and it's Finisher by Chris Estrada. It's time to finish exactly how you started. This book is incredible. As you can tell with all of my different sticky notes inside of it. This author, Chris Estrada, he has had over 21 years of experience in missionary preaching, teaching experiences, and currently serves on the executive leadership team of Love Has No Limits and Mission Me. He's an amazing author. This book will genuinely transform your life, just like it transformed mine. And this book is all about a bold call to perseverance and purpose. Do you have something that you have started and you've stopped? Have you been a person who has started, stopped all over again? I'll be the first to say that I have. And when I first read this book, I genuinely I felt commissioned to finish what I started, because in the book, literally, let me pull this up in the back. It says, the world is impressed by people who start things, but it's transformed by people who finish them. So today, my encouragement is going to be directly related in this book on how to be a finisher and finish what you start, because the impact that is going to happen whenever you do finish what you're working on is going to be incredible. In this book, Chris Estrada, he unpacks how to overcome spiritual exhaustion, disappointment, and the temptation to quit by trusting that God will finish what he started. I'm not kidding you, it is cram-packed with biblical backing on the heart of the finisher, why people don't finish, the tools that you need to be able to finish, and it's beautifully crafted in a way that's relatable, and it feels like a conversation. It literally feels like I'm talking to this guy. It feels like a conversation. So if you struggle with finishing what you start, you won't if you read this book and apply its principles. And also, you're going to have to finish the book, because when you finish the book, that's when you're going to get all the tools and the principles. I thought that was funny. Anyways, if you're new here or if you're returning, do me a favor. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, because next week we are diving into some new topic, and turn on notifications so that you're never missing out on a new episode that we have here at the Kaytlynn Ward Show. Your support means the world to me, and I'm so thankful for all of the support that you guys have given over the past couple of months. I don't know what month we are in now, but I just am enjoying the community that we are growing here. And hey, share this with someone. Share this series with someone if you feel like they can be impacted just like you can. Let's jump right in. So what I want to focus on today is I just want to give you the Kaytlynn Ward Cliff Notes of this book, and I want to encourage you to finish what you start. So overall in this book, it starts off with encouraging you and introducing you on the idea of courage, because God, he never wants you, the book says, God never wants you to start strong and finish weak. He wants you to finish each assignment the same way you start, full of faith and joy and devotion, just like Jesus did. Think about it. Jesus had a crazy calling on his life to literally save mankind and have us be in a relationship with him. Crazy. And there were times when he was human. He could have quit. Thank God he didn't, because you and I have the opportunity to spend an eternal life with Jesus because he finished his job. And literally, we are called to do like Jesus did. In John 13:15, it says, I have given you an example to follow. Do as I have done to you. That right there is saying, hey, I finished my role. So, hey, you need to finish what God has called you to do. You are meant to finish what God has called you to do. If he has placed a dream in your heart, if he has placed a passion, a desire, he did not put that there for you to quit halfway. He put it in there because he wanted you to finish what you started. Why? Because there's an eternal purpose to it. So this process of starting something and finishing, this whole entire process of it, it is always going to come at a price. It's never going to be easy. You see, it started off in the beginning of the book that it's not going to be easy, but it is possible. So we need to live our life following the example of Christ. You can see that in Ephesians 5:1-2. It says, live a life with love, following the example of Christ. He loved us and offered himself as a sacrifice for us, a pleasing aroma to God. So we need to follow the example of Christ. And just as he finished his race, we need to finish our race. Chris Estrada said this, if there is breath in your lungs, you're not a quitter unless you want to be. If you quit, that's up to you. But you don't have to. It's all up to you. And in this process of going to start to finish, you're going to need some encouragement along the way. And so the next section of this book all talks about overdosing on encouragement. You have to stay encouraged not to quit. I mean, you hear in the Bible that David encouraged himself in the Lord. We have to encourage ourselves because there are going to be times when we do not want to continue. We don't want to take another step. We don't want to go forward. Trust me. I know. Because there are certain things that God has put in my heart like 7 years ago, and I haven't seen them come true yet. But trust me, I am finishing the call that God has in my life. I am literally staying persistent until I see that finished work. Why? Because God has given me the heart of a finisher. Also, because I read this book. This book is literally exactly what you need if you have a struggle with finishing and you have a struggle with starting something and stopping, because it gives you the tools to overcome this stagnant and lazy mindset. And one of them is staying overdosed on this encouragement. One thing that I really, really loved is that Chris Estrada gave the story of his mom, and his mom wanted to run this marathon. And then Chris Estrada was like, you ain't gonna run a marathon. What are you thinking? And then she runs the marathon, but his mom was telling him the story and was like, I was hitting a wall, but then every time I hit a wall and I was at these mile markers, I was encouraged not to quit because there were people calling out, like whatever her number was, they would say her number. It's like, pick up the pace. You can do this. You keep going. Go make it to the next mile marker. And there were people around her encouraging her, and she was able to finish the race because of the people and the encouragement that she heard. The same with you. Who are you around? Who's around you? Now, there are going to be times when you have, disclaimer, there are going to be times when you have people that aren't there to encourage you, but do your best to get around people who are there to encourage you to finish the plan that God has for your life. And if you don't have those people around, then encourage yourself in the Lord, just like David encouraged himself in the Lord. So do not quit on the destiny that God has put in your heart, because you didn't come this far to quit. Keep going. You didn't put all the blood, sweat, and tears in just to give up. Remember, you're only a quitter if you choose to. So don't quit. Don't quit. And another awesome portion of this book of having the heart of a finisher is learning that failure is not fatal. It's not something, if you fail, it's not something that's the end of the world, because there are going to be times when you make mistakes, because honestly, we all make mistakes, but it's what you do after the mistake. It's what you do after you fall. Do you get back up? Do you learn what you did so that you can learn how to do it better the next time? If you choose to not learn from falling or failing, then you're going to feel like that you're a failure, but you're not a failure. You just failed at a moment. You just messed up. But failure is not fatal to your destiny that God has for you, because we're always going to have some moments when we do make some mess ups. And maybe you are someone who just feels like, I'm unqualified. I've messed up too many times. Like, I just don't know, like, how could God use me because of how many times I did mess up? God has chosen you. 1 Corinthians 1:27-31 talks about this. It says, do not forget, he loves to use the imperfect and unskilled. That is a you and that is a me. We're both imperfect. We're both unskilled in certain things. But I want you to remember that failure is not final. Failure is not fatal. Like, think about the 409 cleaning solution. You had someone who tried 408 times until the 409th time they got the right cleaning solution, but they had to learn from their failures along the way. So remember to stay encouraged. Don't get discouraged. And also, I want you to remember that your failure isn't final. And I love this quote. It says, you got to remind yourself to quit drinking from the wells of the past disappointment and discouragements and overdose on heavenly courage and strength. Chris Estrada brings up the story of Joshua, and he's talking about building up courage in someone's heart. And the God of abundant courage is available to us, and his strength is available to us. And he promised that to us just like he did Joshua. He was telling Joshua in Joshua 1:5, it says, "For I will be with you as I was with Moses." God was with Moses when he spared his life when he was an infant, when he was raised in Pharaoh's house, and as a result was given access to the greatest forms of education and leadership development. Again, this is all in the book. Through a burning bush, he reignited the assignment to deliver his people. He was used to send the 10 plagues. He split the Red Sea and destroyed Moses' and enemies in one move. He provided water from a rock. He caused manna to fall from heaven for Moses. And God was telling Joshua, listen, I will be with you like I was with Moses. So if you're disheartened, if you feel like you cannot finish, encourage yourself in the Lord, because that courage and that strength is available to me and you, because God said that I will be with you as I was with Moses. He was telling that to Joshua, but it was also, we're reading it, it's saying that to me and you. For God will be with you as he was with Moses. God will be with you as he was with Joshua. So I want you to realize that this courage is something that the enemy doesn't want you to have, but it is something that is yours. So don't let the enemy steal away your courage by using things like your weakness or your fear. Don't let your shortcomings convince you of your capacity to accomplish what is in your heart. Your enemy is not scared of you because you have a dream. His palms sweat when you're possessed with courage to run after it. Chris Estrada said that. He said, your enemy's not scared of you because you have the dream. His palms sweat and you're possessed with the courage to run after it, because it's not dangerous to dream. I posted this on my Instagram story a couple days ago or a couple weeks ago, but the enemy is not scared of you when you have a dream. Dreaming only becomes dangerous when you have the courage to take action on it, because God has amazing plans for you. But it only becomes a intimidation factor to the enemy when you act on it, and you act on it with courage. So I encourage you today, have that finishing heart, have that finisher's heart, have that finisher mindset, because God has put a plan on the inside of you, and he said, do as I did. So if Jesus was able to finish his calling for his life, you and I can do the same exact thing. You and I can do the same exact thing. Some of you might feel like you're forgotten. I'll be honest, I have had that same experience where I feel like, God, I feel like I'm forgotten. All my friends are getting brand new jobs and brand new promotions, and they're getting married, they're engaged, they are having kids. I don't feel left out on that part yet. I can wait on that. But I'm just saying, I have honestly felt like, Lord, have you forgotten me sometimes? And I have felt that, but I don't let that thought stay. Take those thoughts captive, because I know that God has a plan and a purpose for my life. And I talked about some this in a previous episode when I was talking about like when your prayer's unanswered, what do you do? Sometimes these prayers that you have and these dreams that you have in your heart, they're not answered just yet, because God is doing a work in you in order for you to be able to sustain, in order for you to be able to carry the weight of what you are walking into. Because God is never going to take you to a place that's going to make you fall flat on your face. He's going to take you to the place that is going to bring him glory. And you falling flat on your face isn't bringing him glory. And there are some times that with finishing the work that God has in us, that we're not there yet. We're not there. Our path is longer than our friends is, our family is, because God has to do a work in us. So let him do that work in you. And he even shares an amazing story of that in this book, of talking about how he just felt forgotten. And then God was like, I don't love you more than I love them. I just trust them more than you. And he was saying that I need you to let me develop faithfulness. I need you to let me develop that in you. And so I encourage you right now, if you are not there yet of where you've been prophesied over, where you've been prayed over, the dreams that have been placed in your heart, if you're not there yet and you feel like you're doing everything, ask God, is there something that you need to develop in me so that I can finish the assignment that you've put on my heart? You'll be amazed at what he says, because I've asked him that myself. And then sometimes it hurts. It's like, you know what? Yeah, I really got to work on that. But, it is possible. It is possible to work on the things that we need to work on in order to achieve what God has placed in our hearts. Because last week we talked about fundamentals. The little things are fundamental. The little things done over and over are going to cause great success in your life. And so there are certain things you just got to learn along the way. And you can't be afraid of the process. So if you commit to being faithful, not only will your desired moments come, but they also will mean so much more to you. The truth is if you don't go through the process when you arrive at your moment, you will never have the power to keep it. Think about that quote where it says, talent may get you there, but it's character that keeps you there. There is character that is being built in you right now. And once you get there, you're going to be able to stay there because of the way that God developed you. Because listen to this, God always rewards the faithful. And that is a common thing in this theme in this book, is that God always rewards the faithful. And I want to remind you that you must respect the process, because if you do not, then you will quit because you think it's just supposed to happen that way. No. When you hit a wall, keep going. When you hit a wall, climb over. You are going to make it. You are going to finish, but you just got to stay consistent. So don't neglect it. Don't neglect the process. And I mean, think about it. Joshua, he first saw the promised land 40 years before he actually took the promised land. And he saw, you know what? When I go into this promised land now, I got to have the courage to be able to take that land, because I'm not going to go back in those 40 years with people not walking into the promise because they didn't have the courage to do so. So a heart of a finisher, I just want to remind you of a few things as we're closing today, is that the heart of a finisher has the heart of courage. They stay encouraged. They respect the process. They know failure isn't final, and they know that God must do a work in them in order for them to be able to keep and stay in the place that God brings them. Because when God brings you someplace, it's always to bring Him glory and not for you to fall flat on your face. The last little thing I want to share with you today is that sometimes you quit on your dreams, you abort your dreams because they were shared with the wrong people. Never put what's precious to you in front of people who will treat it as common. Matthew 7:6. I love this concept. Chris Estrada said that. He said, never put what's precious in front of you. He put that in the book. And the Bible says it too. Because sometimes you need to move in silence in the infancy of your dream and the infancy of the calling that God put on your life, because many people will have an opinion, but maybe only one or two people will actually be able to see the vision that God has put in your heart. And if you're not grounded and if you're not matured in that dream and those plans to achieve them, then when you have opposition and wrong voices who you thought would support you, just like the 10 spies with Joshua, just like those people, they only saw obstacles, not the promise, then you are going to quit way too soon. So I want to encourage you to finish strong. You need to keep the dream close until it has legs, so that when the opposition does come, it's able to stand against it. Sometimes we don't finish because we're discouraged. Sometimes we don't finish because we feel like a failure. Sometimes we don't finish because we share our dreams with people that we really don't need to share it with. So keep the dream close to your heart, because God, He has a plan for you to finish that dream and see it come into a reality in your life. Because when God, this is something that was said over and over in this book, is that when God says you're ready, you are ready. This book, I encourage you to get it today. Add it to your reading list, add it to your summer reading list, purchase it on your Amazon right now, your Kindle, or whatever you do, because you are meant to finish the plan that God has for your life. You're meant to see the fullness of God that He has for you, and you cannot quit. You quit when you choose to, but you win when you choose to. So it's your choice. You can either choose to be consistent, or you can choose to just be lazy and not continue after the dream that God has put in your heart. You're going to face opposition, but encourage yourself in the Lord. You're going to face times when you fail. Get back up when you fail and learn from your failures. You're going to face times when you feel like, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have shared my dream that soon. Well, remember that next time when you have the other dream come about in your life, to keep your dream close and keep your dream, move in silence at first when it comes to your dreams, because God has placed that dream in your heart, and not everyone's going to see it at first. To have the heart of a finisher, you must, as this book said, to have the heart of a finisher, you must keep yourself encouraged. Don't let failure define you, and know that if God says you're ready, you are ready. This book has genuinely transformed my life in so many ways, because I've struggled with starting something and stopping something, starting something and stopping something. When I grew up, I would read books and then I would put them down and I would never finish them. I would pick up random instruments or drawings or paintings, and I would start them and I would never finish them. But this book taught me how to be steadfast in the journey to the finish line. The finish line is there As long as you keep pursuing the calling, the finish line is there. You just got to keep running until your race is complete. Well, that is all that I have for you today, and that concludes our summer reading series, the books that have transformed my life. I encourage you, if you haven't already done so, buy those books, read them, because I promise you, your life will be changed for the better. And I encourage you today to share this with someone that you know, share the series, because these books can also transform their life, and leave a comment. Let me know what stood out to you in today's episode, and hey, also let me know what you want to hear on this episode in the future. Again, thank you so much for joining today. Like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see you again next Friday.